Welcome everybody to another week of the Weeks in Tavern. I'm Subtle. He's Hando. How are you doing today, Hando?
I am doing pretty good, Mr. Subtle. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
That's right. That's right. Thank you. Thank us for having us.
Yeah. Thanks.
Here on Wet, the Week's End Tavern.
Tea wet. Yeah, so what have you been up to in WoW lately, dude?
I announced last week that we were going to have, or last podcast, I can't remember if it was last week. Anyway, last podcast, that there was going to be a little speed run challenge.
Yes.
So I, took the liberty to go through a few of the dungeons and, think about what was going to happen there. And I soloed a few dungeons and, try to figure out which one was the most fun for me and what can be done in different ways. So that's what I did pretty much. Didn't really raid this week. I didn't really have time because work, the overtime was like crazy this week. So I pretty much dedicated my time to that, and then finishing off the grind for the mirror for my DK that I just got up recently. So
okay, that will come in handy for that nav prog. And
that's right.
Whatever else you're doing.
No, I just want to have a mirror to look at myself.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah.
Because
you are your
is
biggest
better than
fan.
one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Okay, so how about yourself?
Mostly just been doing like War Within stuff, like leveling all the tanks up, trying to get them all on Alliance. Apparently that's what you want to be for M plus tanking. You want to be an Alliance tank. So, yeah, I only had Horde tanks, so gotta just get them all over to Alliance. Apparently, Night Elf and Dwarf and Dark Iron Dwarf are all very good.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask if it's a racial thing because I know Shadow Meld is pretty busted or was pretty busted.
Yeah, it's like it's I think a much more like high level thing, and it's very situational, but it can be completely busted. So we might be getting into that stuff. We'll see. Wagner's asking if you're on vacation right now, dude.
Yeah, I am. So would it benefit you more as a night elf if the entire group was a night elf, or is it anything like a personal thing that makes it better?
Honestly, I don't know the high level M plus stuff well enough, but I know in a lot of groups, all of them are running it. So I think it's most advantageous if everybody is, but there might be some plays with just some people being it.
Well, we may see you on the invitationals, right? With enough practice.
I don't know about that, but yeah, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun for sure in M plus, and anybody who's interested in doing M plus stuff, stop at the stream. Be doing tons of viewer M pluses, all that kind of stuff. So should be a good time, especially early on when everybody's new to it, figuring everything out. Should be a good time. But yeah, I've been leveling all my tanks through like the Radiant Echoes. Have you done any of those? I can't remember.
No, I've been watching you doing them,
Okay.
but I ran into an issue where I actually need to get more memory for my computer.
Oh shit! Okay.
And more storage.
All right.
So it's just something I've just been putting off, and I have to go do that because I realized like halfway through the download, my computer was like, "Excuse me, no."
All right.
I'm a bit of a pack rat when it comes to computer stuff, so I have like a lot of old games, and then my son plays Minecraft on my computer, and I don't think he ever deletes a world. So many gigabytes.
I've never played it, but you like store all that stuff locally?
Yeah, you do, yeah. Dude. And it's and each world is like nearly infinite the size.
Okay.
But it does cache what you have seen rather than what can be.
Okay, yeah.
So otherwise it could be so big if it was every single one was like almost infinite. So but yeah, and then he'll just go like put as many things as possible in it, like he'll spawn as many dogs, and then it like lags out the computer because there's so many
I
so many
mean,
sprites in one place.
that's one of the most fun things. Like when I was a kid playing Age of Empires, like just spawn as many of the Corvettes as you could with the cheat code, just until the
That's
game
it.
crashed. Yeah, just had
That's
like 10,000 Corvettes fighting like war elephants. The Battle of the Ages.
yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't think about that too. Yeah, and then Vagna just mentioned it now, but I was gonna say something about it, make a little joke about it too. I was gonna say maybe I just need to do a challenge for the
Yeah, the
stream.
Hando UI challenge. It's time. It's time.
Yeah, there's gonna be a hand on my screen, and it's on my screen that you guys can also see, and it'll get larger and larger, and it obscures more of the screen. So eventually, all I can see is hand, just palm.
I love it. I love it. While we're on the topic of like storage and stuff, this being a WoW podcast too, I do have possibly a tip that could help some people out. So Warcraft logs, if you're somebody who like logs all your raids, you should go in and delete some of those at some point, probably. When I was helping in one of my guildies set up like logging and everything, he asked me if he needs to like stay on top of like deleting old logs. And at first I was like, no, like they're text files, like it's not a big deal. Like it's not gonna take up very much space. And then I went in and looked to see how much space my old logs were taking up. It was like 120 gigs of of old
It's a
logs
lot.
because I had been logging since, classic, sometime in classic, and I just had 120 gigs of old logs saved up that like obviously I never need those. They're on Warcraft logs. You know, if I really needed an old one that like wasn't available anymore, I could get the archive. I think you can sub to get the archive stuff, but yeah, if you've been logging for a long time, take a look at your log folder and see if maybe you also have over 100 gigs of logs just sitting there taking up space for no reason.
Are you parsing 100 gigs on your log?
I was parsing over 100 gigs, like easy, dude. It was
Parsing
crazy.
100.
I had no clue. It makes sense because there's so much data in the logs, but I was just like, when I was thinking about it, I was like, these are just text files. Like, it's not a big deal. I was wrong. They are huge text files. They're
So yeah, I
gigantic.
learned about that. I learned about that because I had to go through and prune some sections of a log for something. I can't remember why. I mean, it's not like I'm cheating. It's I'm not.
Wait a second. Hando's spoofing logs?
No. So anyway, I was checking. I had to like add two of them together because they were like all messed up or whatever. And I went
Mm-hmm.
through there and I'm like, holy smokes, there is so much like there is so much text in these things. This is
I
ridiculous.
mean, if you just think about what's in a log, like what you look at on Warcraft logs, the amount you go to events or something on like a raid level for just damage done. You scroll through an entire page and it might be like half a second of fight time. Just if you look at the entire raid, there's so much data in them. It's insane.
Yeah, it'll like track if you sneezed and stuff. It's great.
Pretty much, yeah. And then you look at AoE abilities too with Army of the Deads and stuff. Every time I press glyph to rune tap at the beginning of a fight in 25 man, I'm in a group with I think like 3 or 4 DKs a lot of the time. So my rune tap is healing. I don't know how many ghouls are there, like 40 or something. Every time I press rune tap, it's healing 40 ghouls on top of like 5 players. It's wild. But
Yeah, you're doing that just to make the logs bigger. That's all that
oh
is.
yeah, I mean it's all over healing. But yeah, I would love that if it actually healed all of them.
Yeah.
That's how you get the
The
big barzes.
there you go. The one of my guildmates from Classic or whatever has been logging ever since like I think he has the logs from maybe when ZG started. Like still he still has those.
Nice,
Um, so he's been plugging away and he just has dedicated storage to just those logs so that he can keep them and archive them forever, which is pretty crazy. And
nice.
he did like at least 5 raids a week. I mean,
Oof.
steady throughout the entire thing, like till current even.
Yeah, I mean, in Wrath, when I was doing up to 5+ raids, I guess possibly even more with 25-man plus 10-man being doable in the same week. That's when the logs really add up and take up all your space.
It'd be interesting to see which logs took up the most space. Like if there was, certain encounters that take more. I mean, based on time and stuff. Obviously,
Oh,
Lich King took a
there's
ton,
gotta
right?
be.
Because
Yeah.
he's such a long fight period, right? And then
Also,
the
just
ambient
lots
damage
of
from the
AoE
stuff.
damage and stuff. Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Okay, every single time there's AoE damage, I mean, that's 25 entries if it's like raid wide AoE damage. So,
Do we know when Warcraft log, uh, like just gets rid of a log being able to be like parsed,
I think
or
is
like?
somewhere in the maybe 6 months to a year range, maybe
Okay, okay.
more. I think it's around a year, but they if you give them money, you can access like archived logs. They just go into archive at that point. So
Okay.
they're
This
still available for money.
this podcast is brought to you by Warcraft Logs. Please subscribe to their
Yeah,
archived
can we get
process.
the Warcraft logs sponsor?
Yeah, just the WCL over here. Can we get the WCL over here? No, but that's a great tip for sure. I mean, I definitely wouldn't have known about it if I wasn't splicing logs, right? So
On the topic of splicing logs and stuff like that, probably so something that's happened to me many times throughout Classic is that I'll get a 100 parse on something, and then I end up number 2 by the time the stuff locks in. And then a lot of the times I've checked what that number 1 log is, and it's just a fake log. Like it's not a real log, but you can get them to remove it, but you cannot retroactively get that 100 back. As soon as you lose that 100 to a fake log, you've lost it. You can't get that 100 even though are the rank 1. So, like many times my page has shown like 99 parse rank 1 because the log that beat me was fake. And one of my favorite fake logs that ever beat me, not one of my favorites, my absolute favorite. My favorite fake log that ever beat me was on heroic 10-man Memoron. And the guy who beat me, this was on Prop Alley. The guy who beat me, his all his damage was done to Naxxramas Trash on 25-man, I think. Not even 10-man. I think it was even 25-man. And his top damage source was Vindication, which if you played Prop Alley at any point, really, you know that that's an attack power debuff. It doesn't do damage. So this log was just fake as hell. Like the damage wasn't even done to the boss in question, and the top damage source was a attack power debuff. Like everything about it was just over the top ridiculous, and that's the guy that took my 100. And like his log got removed, but you don't get that 100 back. Luckily, in that case, I think I just 100 again the next week. But there are other times I've had where I lose the 100 to a spoofed log and I never get it back. It's just gone, and it kind of sucks. But
is
that's
there ever a scenario where you think that someone's just doing that maliciously?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think a lot
What
of
a
times.
shame.
Yeah,
What a shame.
I mean, so I think one of the main issues, because it's pretty much always Chinese logs that cause these issues. I think a lot of it is just like translation and like, the data getting messed up. I'm sure some decent percentage of them is people literally just going in and doing it though themselves. But I think another big factor is just like some issue with like translation in the data. But yeah, it sucks when it happens because you see that 100, it's kind of exciting. You're just waiting to lock in, and you're like, oh, can I keep that? And then when you lose it to a fake log, like somebody didn't even beat you, but then you just permanently lose that 100. It just kind of sucks.
Yeah, but doesn't that make you feel a little
You
good?
know, yeah, but
Actually, probably
yeah,
makes it feel worse, to be honest. You're like,
yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many times that's happened. Uh, you know, over the course of Classic, I think I've probably lost somewhere between 10 to 20 hundreds over the course of Classic, somewhere in that range to fake logs. It's crazy.
well, I don't know about you, but I've lost a couple zeros, I think, on
Oh,
Future side.
that's
You
good.
know, those fake people, they were dying more than me, dude. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, if you got a 100, probably just make a fake log where somebody else gets a even worse DPS than you. Just
Yeah.
flood it with crazy bad
I'm gonna
ones.
put a bunch of Naxxramas Ghoul logs in there, dude. Don't you worry. I'm gonna put some in BRD or whatever. BWD. Yeah, BWD. Put a bunch of
Yeah.
Naxxramas trash in there. No, it'll be the
Yeah,
wiser.
that's the play, man. Like nobody ever sees it coming. On Heroic Memoron, the key was always just kill Naxxramas trash and do lots of damage with abilities that don't do damage. Like that's the key to victory. It's just one of those high level strats nobody thinks of. It sounds crazy, but that's the optimal way to play.
He was just
Just
stacking up his vengeance, an expansion early. That's all it was.
yeah. Oh, can you imagine if we had Vengeance and Wrath?
Not with the Prot
That would
Protas.
have
That'd
been
have been so
fun.
OP.
That would have been fun.
You
Oof.
were already top damage on some of the fights. I wouldn't imagine with vengeance. It would have been insane. I think on what's it, Festergut, you were
Oh,
like way up there.
oh yeah. Fester was like the one tanks could win on. I mean,
You would imagine that.
tanks were like pretty up there. Like you could be like lower middle of the pack on some fights for sure. But yeah, Fester was the one you could really compete for number one on. You want to get into this solo Blackheart Cavern
I do,
speedrun
yeah.
challenge?
Well,
Like, give some details on that. I actually,
sure
so
thing.
first off, I did make the channel in my Discord already for this. So when people are looking to submit their runs, just look in my Discord for the. It's like, let me just look at it.
Solo challenge submissions.
Solo challenge submissions. That's the channel you're looking for. It's under the subtle content header, you know. So just look in my Discord for that. If you need my Discord, it'll be in the video description. So can find that there. But Hando, tell us all about this. What's going on?
Yeah. So speaking of logs and speedruns and stuff like that, last week we did talk about a speedrun. There will be giveaways, or not giveaways, rather prizes, for achieving, the greatest time. Some of the prizes will include either game time or BattleNet currency, or potentially maybe some gifted subs. Or gifted Twitch primes. You can't gift Twitch prime, but you know what I mean. Gifted subs. Um, so depending on how well, maybe like the top 3 placements do, depending on the submissions, there will be some good prizes involved. Some pretty good prizes. So in order to earn those, though, what this is you have to run a solo dungeon. The dungeon is Blackrock Caverns. So it is one of the first dungeons, if not the first dungeon that you enter when you get into Cataclysm. It has to be done on the classic era servers, the Cata era servers. It cannot be done on retail. That would be a little cheese.
Could you imagine?
Yes, they submit it.
You're
They're
just
like, yeah, here it
one
is.
shotting everything. Yeah.
Yeah, here it is. But if you'd like to do that just for fun, I would love to see the submission even still. If it's something that you want to do in retail, just to be like, hey, check this out. It won't be validated, but if it's something that you look to do for fun. I'm I'm looking to have you guys kill all of the bosses. Initially, I was going to say no to beauty, and I still kind of am saying no to beauty. I want to throw a little loop in here for you guys. If you kill beauty, there will be a time reduction of 2 minutes if you kill beauty. So that
Whoa.
means if you kill her with another boss or however you, or with some trash mobs that I have allocated here, you can reduce your time. So maybe it's better to pull her with, maybe it's a little bit better to pull her alone, however you want to do it. So here's here's what it is. You enter Blackrock Caverns. The timer will start as soon as you enter the dungeon. You have to kill all of the bosses besides Beauty. Beauty is completely optional. If you kill her, you get 2 minutes reduced. You have to kill 2 Twilight Zealots, 1 Elemental Warden, and 2 Defiled Earth Rangers. Now, there is plenty of options to kill some of these mobs. So they can potentially be near the end of the dungeon. Some of them can be near the start. And I don't want to give away too many spoilers, so I won't say more on that because I have tested some things.
Oh.
But there's definitely some cheese that can be done with some of these things. So it doesn't matter what class you are, just has to be submitted in Subtle's Discord. The solo challenge submission has to be submitted via video, if possible, of your best run by the time that the next podcast is released. We'll say maybe 24 hours before the next podcast. So if we from the time now, it'd be 6 days exactly from now, which gives you plenty of time to practice or whatever. And I know there's a lull in some of the content, not like a super lull because the War Within pre-patch, but it should give people time because it's on normal. You can just spam it and try it again and try it again and try it again and see how fast you can go. I did try to create a WeakAura to get the times and stuff, but we will just use timestamps for now because my WeakAura skills are not good. I definitely tried my best. I'm going to see if I can get some people to help me so that I can get that refined for when we potentially do the next one, if this goes well. So if you guys want to participate, very simple. Run Blackrock Caverns, film it. Your face doesn't have to be in it or anything. It just has to be your character. And just send it into the solo challenge submission channel on Subtle's Discord, and that's it.
And Hando, can we get the requirements posted in that channel too? And
I can, yes.
I'll pin them in there so that you
Yes.
guys can just see what the requirements are on the.
Yeah, I'll have them neatly written up here shortly for you because I do have them. They're just not like super neat. So.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, check the channel and we'll have it pinned in there. And we'll say what, like Monday? Well, I guess we'll probably podcast a little earlier next week. So we'll say Sunday at 10 p.m. Pacific time. That'll be the cutoff for submissions. And yeah, look forward to seeing what you guys do in there. I'll probably do a run myself just to kind of see what it's like and what kind of times can be done. But I'm not participating, like not competing for it, obviously. But yeah, I want to see what you guys do. It's gonna be fun, and I think this will be a fun, like every week thing going forward, probably. But we'll see what the participation looks like.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, even if you do it as something that's fun, it doesn't matter competition wise. It really doesn't matter. Just doing something that's different in the game and gets you out in the world and doing something that you just totally would not do. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it. It's awesome. Gives gives
maybe
more stuff to do right now when it's a little bit of a low period in Kata.
That's right. And I have explored some future dungeons, and I will say that I wouldn't count the low level dungeons out. Like if we did BRD, and you had to kill every single boss, it takes some time.
You would definitely, it would be all about just like good routing and stuff and like how much can you skip and that kind of stuff. Because those mobs, one thing people may not know is if you're in combat with those mobs for I think a minute, they start doing the perma stun thing. Every time they hit you, they stun you, and I don't think you can bubble out of it or like IBF out of it or anything. It's like a GG stun. So you wouldn't even be able to just run through the dungeon and like AoE everything. You'd have to actually kill things as you go. But
yeah, I actually forgot about that mechanic because they added it in for the Stratholme like boosting or whatever was going on. I totally forgot about that mechanic, and I had like all of Stratholme on me one time, and I
yeah.
was like, what is happening to me? And I was like, oh right, the failsafe or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I did it. It happened to me in BRD because I was just running out of BRD. Like from the Grim Guzzler to just zone out and I think go up to Backwing Descent, and then I just got perma-stunned. I was like, oh, yeah, this exists. But yeah, Joe in chat had a question. Is it BRC normal? It is, just to clarify, it is normal Blackrock Caverns. All right. We all good on that? Ready to move on?
I think that's it. Yeah, just let the races begin.
Excited to see what you guys can do in there. It's gonna be good. So let's look at some listener questions. BB asks, how has the haze conversation evolved over the last month? Are people more accepting of its existence now, or is it still getting people grumpy in external forums? Will you be doing a best heroic boss kill order for Firelands? So to answer the last part first, yeah, I'll do a best heroic boss kill order for Firelands for sure. That's that's pretty quick to do, especially in Firelands. There's not that many bosses. As far as the haze conversation, I don't think it's really changed. Like it's still kind of the exact same thing. It's like mastery probably gives you slightly more healing, but haste gives you everything. And you're not going to stack a stat that doesn't give you a significant and decisive advantage, and the only thing it does. So, I mean, that's all it really boils down to. Mastery or haste is just insanely better overall value. And mastery is also self-limiting, which is one of the reasons it's not even that great at the only thing it does. Absorb damage does not count towards your next high DS, which is the DS that's 20% of the damage you've taken in the last 5 seconds. So since mastery is giving you bigger absorbs, and then all that absorb damage does not count towards future high DSs, which lowers your future Death Strike healing and then lowers your future blood shields, obviously, because it's based on Death Strike healing. It just like limits itself. Like the more mastery you get, it's also reducing your future DS healing and absorb. The exception to that is DS snapshotting. So when you use a high DS, it'll snapshot for the next 5 seconds if you don't take any damage. As soon as you take another instance of damage that isn't fully absorbed, then it will reset. So on fights where there's, a room magic damage AoE pulls, it's gonna reset immediately. But on some fights where it's only physical damage you're taking, you can potentially snapshot that DS for the full 5 seconds. And if you cast another DS within that 5-second window, you can get the exact same benefit you got on the very first cast, which can be really, really huge, but is a little bit more rare of a scenario that you don't take a single point of damage for the entire 5 seconds and you cast a second DS in that 5-second window. Both of those things have to align. So, yeah, I mean, the debate hasn't really changed at all. To me, it's just like it's so clear. Like you never stack mastery because like haste is just so high value. Mastery does one thing and it's not even good enough at the only thing it does to justify stacking it. So I don't know. I have noticed more people using haste, but I mean, some people are very entrenched in their hate of haste. So I don't know if those people are ever going to come around, but if they do, they're going to figure out that they haven't really unlocked the potential of Blood DK yet. Blood DK with haste is a completely different class. It is so good. It is so fun. You press something every single GCD. There is no waiting around. It is just nonstop, every GCD filled. It is awesome. So if you haven't tried it yet, definitely give it a shot. I've been playing with between 7 and 7.2 second rune regen these days, and that seems to be kind of the optimal point. I don't think I would really ever go below 7 seconds. That seems to sort of be the cap where every GCD is completely filled and you aren't really gaining much going past that. But yeah, looking forward to future phases when we can get even more stats. It's going to be fun.
If you'd also like more discussion on that haste topic too, Ariani went over his stream, one of his streams. He went over a huge discussion on that. He read over the exact, like word for word, the Wowhead guide and stuff like that, and went over it and dissected it and
yeah,
play by play also.
I haven't actually gotten a chance to watch that myself, but I mean that's one of the things about content creation. Like you're so busy with your own stuff, it's tough to watch somebody else's 45-minute video sometimes, especially if it's a topic like that's kind of been beaten to death too. But
yeah, for sure.
One of the really interesting things that came out of that video though was like one of the people in the Blood DK Discord, they're the ones that like wrote the Wowhead guide, and they just like quit the Discord, quit writing for Wowhead, and it was like a whole thing.
That is crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, it was a weird hill to die on, because like haste is like so clearly like the way to go. And they were just so entrenched in like no haste. Haste is terrible, like all about mastery. It was just bizarre. Like they just decided they're gonna play the class wrong the entire expansion and like write a Wowhead article about it. And I think Wowhead kind of forced them out because like Wowhead doesn't want people writing for them that are telling people to do the wrong stuff and like super entrenched and like you need to play the class the wrong way. So yeah, I think they got kind of forced out there, but I mean it's good because like a lot of people do start with Wowhead as their main source of info. So not having that misinformation on Wowhead anymore is a really good step forward, I think.
It's very interesting though, because it's in a state where like it wasn't like a Prot warrior, right? Where they'll show like, hey, this is how you survive, right? And then this is how you parse. Like there's two different, ways to go about it. It was just so like, hey, matter of fact, like this has to be the way. Right? That was
I mean I literally hadn't even read it, but in my experience that's kind of how that person had been before, is they kind of think whatever they say is the only way, even if there's undeniable evidence toward the contrary. And yeah, they seem to just sort of dig their feet in, and yeah, it obviously did not end well for them.
To extend on that just a tiny bit here, is there any items, like upcoming items, that you're looking forward to that have like a ton of haste or anything like that that can cause some shenanigans in the future?
Like with Firelands, I was kind of surprised with how poorly itemized everything is. So next phase is not looking like super great. But in Dragon Soul, there's gonna be some crazy stuff. There's like a trinket that scales with attack power, and it's like a proc for an extra attack. Some of the old stuff I was looking at was saying it was like critting, could crit for 80k and stuff like that. So like basically a death strike, and it was like a 7-second internal cooldown. So we'll have to see how hard that trinket actually like hits for. And I know there's like Gerthalak is like the sword with the tentacle proc. So there's gonna be some really crazy trinkets and weapons and stuff in Dragon Soul. And that's when a lot more solos are gonna be possible. Because we're just gonna be doing so much damage. And like our stats are just gonna be through the roof. You're gonna have a bajillion haste while having a bajillion mast and having a bajillion HP, and you could have like expertise, heart gap, and everything.
I wonder if there will ever be a point where dual wielding those swords at the end of Dragon Soul may play a part in soloing also. I know dual wielding is like poo-pooed on right now because it doesn't make much sense with how Deathstrike works.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they like steal health, I think that might be something interesting for sure.
Yeah, I mean they do damage, I think, based on your max HP too. So it could be interesting. I don't know. I would assume Gerthalak's gonna be the way, but it's always fun when there's some like weird quirk to like these items that make them like good when normally they wouldn't be. So we'll check
There
it
you
out,
go.
see what happens. But I'm fully expecting Gerthalak to be the way.
Fully expect the girth.
Fully expect the girth. Always expect the girth.
Never disrespect the girth.
So, last question. Odin asks, should we Golem Blood pot pre-army so it's still up for Dancing Rune Weapon? Or should we use it after army just before pull? I definitely think you should Golem Blood just pre-pull. Because losing all that time on your actual character doing damage, more damage with Golem Blood, I don't think it's worth your army getting snapshotted for it. I could be wrong, but that's what I lean towards for sure.
We got to see the logs. We got to see the logs. We got to test
Yeah.
it. You got to do it for science. Maybe this week, maybe all this week you pre-pot before army, and the next week you do opposite, and you see which one.
Yeah, I mean, it's
What?
one of those.
Wait.
What?
Whoa.
It's one of
Don't
those.
just throw us off.
It's one of those things that you just gotta test on a target dummy like over and over. I'm not sure if you might be able to figure it out on the sim. I don't know, but yeah, it's an annoying one too because it's a 10-minute cooldown. So like, it's an annoying one to test because of that.
We just play the War Within and do your reflections. You know your little time
The
time
Radiant
events.
Echoes.
The Radiant Echoes,
Yeah.
those are the ones. So you just do your little Radiant Echoes, and then 10 minutes later you come in line,
Yeah.
do a little testing, and then back and forth.
I mean, in 10 minutes, you can get, what, like 4 levels in Radiant Echoes? So
There you go.
wouldn't be bad. All right. So going into the news, we got SoD stuff first. If it'll even load. There we go. So the next SoD patch is now on the encrypted vendor servers. So we should be seeing BWL in not too long, I would think. Probably on PTR. I think they're probably PTRing everything now, I would assume, since they kind of set that precedent for this phase already. But yeah, you can
Yeah, I
look
think it
for
makes a lot of
BWL.
sense.
Yeah, it's a good move for sure.
I think there's also going to be no more runes. I think they also maybe said in their most recent interview there's no more runes. So I think that's it. So it should be all just content now, which may be good because maybe they can focus more on that and make it a little bit more challenging or different than Season of Mastery, which is similar. Like Molten Core was very similar to. I know some of the bosses had a few more mechanics or a few different ones, but it was pretty much the same thing. So hopefully they're able to change that up quite a bit and people are able to enjoy it in a different way.
Yeah.
Not that they were bad. It's just you want to discover, right? Season of Discovery.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some kind of wrench into it.
Do you think they're going to potentially bring a new raid out? They brought a new dungeon in the last patch.
I don't think so. I think they're saving that for Classic Plus, like a whole new raid. I don't think that's coming to SoD, but we'll see. Maybe.
Yeah, I think that would be a smart move. The demon instance was pretty interesting. The trinkets out of there were pretty nuts too. So I think we went over that in one of the podcasts, maybe episode 13 when it was, about to come out or whatever. So
yeah, it's cool. They're adding new dungeons. I love that.
Yeah, and then with transmog and stuff that you can't even get in retail that the retail players wanted, it's like no.
I'm sure it'll find its way to retail at some point.
The demon fall canyon comes with the War Within. That wouldn't be bad. That would be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool, probably.
You get it with the Epic Edition. Man, what if they set that precedent? Like certain dungeons you only get with certain versions of pre-purchasing.
If that was the case, would there be you know how like dungeons have like a portal animation, or they're like certain colors, or they have the skull if they're heroic or whatever?
Yeah.
The mythic skull. Is there a certain color that you would look for if it was subscriber based only, or like?
I think it would literally just be like their ad for that version. So it would show like, you know how they have like a little picture for like the Epic Edition and one for like whatever the other ones are called. It would just be like the Epic Edition like picture. It would say like Epic Edition, $79.99, whatever it is, like on the portal instead of the skull.
Would that be only if you didn't have that edition? Because
only if you didn't have it. Yeah.
So it'd just be normal if you.
It would just be like a normal portal if you did have it. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, if I'm spending an extra $20 on launch, I better have a special portal for me. It better be like gold or something.
Maybe that's the next thing they do. You know how they add in like these special Hearthstones and stuff like that? Like the Dark Portal one is just like now your instance portals look a little bit different. I think that's the next frontier.
They haven't thought of it until now. So if they start to do that, we know that it started with us. We know they're listening.
Yep, 100%. Guaranteed.
I mean, they were almost listening with Rag's legs. Very close.
Yeah, we were just a few inches off there. Just a few inches.
Just a few inches, yeah. That's right. Just a few pixels. But I think that's about it, right? There's a potential BWL. There's not much news about it. It's just, hey.
Yeah. I don't think we really know about anything else coming in with that one. But, I mean, BWL is pretty hype. I always like BWL. Especially with some new mechanics.
Did ZG come after BWL, before BWL, during BWL? I can't remember.
Yeah, so ZG came after BWL. ZG came month and a half or 2 months after BWL. If I recall correctly, BWL was like early February, and then ZG hit like 2 months later. It was like, I think it was like early April.
Okay.
Yeah, ZG actually did super well because it happened. I think it happened like right when COVID hit. Because they were, I think, thinking about doing what's the debuff? The disease thing. It was like the blood.
Oh, the blood of Hakar or whatever.
Yeah,
the blood of
whatever it was called. Yeah. I think they were gonna do like a callback to that, have some kind of event thing for that. But then COVID happened at the exact same time, and they thought it might not be a good idea right now to like when people were like dying from an actual like global pandemic, like maybe don't do that in the game. Yeah.
Especially if they called it like COVID or something there. Yikes.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, maybe they'll do something this time. I don't know.
I don't know if this happened in your server, but it was pretty poor taste on our server too, though. But we had people like coughing on people, like an
Oh
emote. They were
god,
like
yeah.
/cough. Now you have
Yeah.
COVID, LOL, and then the guy's name was like COVID spreader.
Yeah.
It was not good.
Yeah, it was a little bit yikes on our server too. All
Well, I'm
right.
glad we weren't alone.
On that note, let's get into the War Within. War Within news coming at you. Okay, so we talked about the animated short. Well, there was a teaser for the animated short last week. We were talking about how cool like these had historically been. Did you get a chance to watch this?
I watched it immediately as it dropped. I know I
Nice.
told you to wait
Yeah,
and
yeah.
react
Oh
live on
my
stream,
god. You
but I
watch it,
immediately
but I
watched it.
had to wait.
Oh yeah, I
Oh.
immediately watched it. There was no solidarity
I
here,
mean,
so.
oh man. What'd you think of it though?
Um, so I thought it was pretty good, but I have to say that I'm pretty sick of like almost the same story happening over and over
Mm-hmm.
again. Like it literally feels like a mini Queen Ashara, kind of, if that makes sense. It's
Hmm.
just I don't know, Queen Ashara that you care less about, if that makes
So
sense.
I was kind of out of the loop on a lot of the retail lore stuff the last, several years. What parts of Queen of Jara was it
I
similar
mean,
to?
just the whole thing, right? Like she's literally taking her city back and like trying to make them more
Mm,
powerful, and the only difference is like she didn't kill her daughter, or whatever. Like she didn't kill her daughter to take
hmm
the throne. It's just she was just trying to
Kill.
bring her people
I
power
think
and
it
stuff,
was.
right?
Didn't the daughter kill the
Either way,
mother
right? Either
in
way,
this
you know
one?
what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah,
Yeah, you know
yeah,
what I mean. Kill her mother, rather.
yeah,
The
yeah,
daughter killing the mother.
yeah, yeah. Like
Um,
for me, it gave like Arthas vibes, kind of good. Like the whole, succeeding you, father. Like at the end of the human campaign, the
yeah,
cinematic.
so that's kind of what I'm saying, though, right? Is it
Mm-hmm.
not like it's kind of like those two stories meshed
Yeah.
together? So it feels like they're kind of just playing off what we enjoy, which is fine as a
Mm-hmm.
company. I think it's probably the right move. Um, but it's just not something that I'm super fond of, because I think the story should just be more, um, I don't know, innovative or imaginary, like
Mm-hmm.
imaginative. I think that's just the
Yeah.
way of the world, though. I guess you recycle stuff. We got all these
Yeah.
movies that they keep redoing and stuff. So, but I mean, overall, the art style was great. The voices and stuff, the voice acting was great. I think Zalteth was amazing looking. I know they had people that did um, like real life cosplay of her, and it was outstanding. So I don't know, that was pretty great. It just didn't really hit me in the way that a story would have
Mm-hmm.
previous.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what like the remaining ones are like. If they all are sort of this, recycled sort of thing and sort of feel similar, that's gonna be kind of a letdown for sure. But if uh if they get really innovative and crazy with some of these remaining ones, 'cause I'm not sure if we know how many there are left, like two or three probably. But hopefully we get some really cool new stuff in those. But I liked it overall. I thought it was solid. But yeah, it's definitely nothing nothing crazy new.
Yeah, I mean, and another thing too is like the shadowy figure working from behind. I mean, we see the shadowy figure this time,
Mhm.
but that's like another thing too, right? Like, is the shadowy figure manipulating someone powerful to do something bad? So that's another one that's like often like a classic trope.
Yeah. I wonder if we'll see more of Zalatath and Sod also. Well, I don't know if we officially know if it's Zalatath, but there was like the shadowy figure in like Sod phase 1, I think. So I wonder if
Well,
they'll do anything more with that.
Agron in the most recent interview said something about we may see the shadowy figure again. Who
Oh,
knows?
all
So like
right.
that was literally the line, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean,
who
so
knows?
we're definitely gonna see it, right?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to Radiant Echoes. So if you did these early on, you might have noticed the bosses were like taking forever to kill, but they changed the boss HP. They also did like a variety of other nerfs. So if you tried these like day one, and you didn't like them, give them another shot. They're much quicker now. They're a really good way to level. If I'm in a good group that's like really rolling, I'm generally getting like, it's probably 20 levels on average every event. So that's like 20 levels an hour. So it's super worth doing. If there's any characters you want to get ready for War Within, really, really quick way to do that. And when you ding 70, you're going to be able to buy an entire set of eye level 480 gear, which is like decent entry gear for level 80. So as long as you level the entire way through Radiant Echoes, you'll have just enough currency to completely buy an entire set. So that's been pretty great. And then there's also, I forget the full name of it, but Catalyst something in retail. Look that up, and basically you can turn non-tier pieces into tier pieces. So not only will you have a full eye level 480 set, but when you go to the Catalyst, you can turn 4 of those pieces. It has to be helm, shoulders, gloves, legs, chest. It has to be one of those to actually get a bonus from it. So just turn 4 of those into tier, and you can have your 4 set tier bonus too. So the second you ding, you have a full eye level 480 set, and you have a 4-piece tier bonus. So that it's just really quick to kind of get going and start a character fresh and be ready to go.
Can't ask for more than that. They just really get you right into the game, right? So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's quick, which is what we love to see on pre-patch. Like, we don't need any like gatekeeping on, getting geared up, getting involved in the end game stuff. Just pre-patch is really short. Just get people up, get them geared, get into M plus raids, whatever people want to do.
Did you now? I know you've been doing this. You said you've mostly been doing prep, right? You haven't been doing like actual mythic stuff. You've just been.
Yeah, I've just only done like a few. I'm mostly still in the mode of like trying to level characters up. But I did a little bit of Raid Finder, which was hilarious because I hadn't done. I did one of the raids like throughout all of Dragonfight, Aberrus, but all of the other bosses are like new to me, and I was doing them on Raid Finder. I had no clue what was going on, and most of the group didn't either because it's a lot of people that came back for the expansion. So you have a fraction of the group that has done these bosses a million times and think everything is super obvious. And then you have a huge amount of people that have never done these and have no clue what's going on. I was part of that group. So in raid chat, it was actually the group I was in for all of these was like super helpful. They were actually, typing in raid chat like what people needed to do and stuff, which was great. But sometimes they didn't really give good info. So like on one of the fights, they told everybody you needed to stand in the purple ground effect to like prevent getting like knocked off the platform. So I was looking all over for like a purple ground effect, and what they really meant was like this gray ground effect that has like lightning in it. It was not purple at all, like zero purple. So I was just ignoring that and looking specifically for this purple ground effect they were talking about, which didn't exist. So there were some moments like that too, where like they were either trolling or like trying to help, but like didn't know what color the ground effect was. I don't even know, but. And then people would drop like markers for where to stand, but it would be like slightly the wrong spot. So then you'd get like thrown off the edge, and it was entertaining for sure. It was good content.
Well, let me test you here. What color is the diamond marker?
Purple.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you weren't colorblind. I just wanted to throw that out there.
I mean, I hope not. Like,
hey, I mean, you never know. Maybe you're purple colorblind,
dude. Yeah, what if epics like epics are like purple in the game? What if epics were like orange this whole time? I've just been living a lie.
It's been great. You're like, man, these common items are really good.
Yeah, Why do the common items have such good stats?
Yeah, some of these common items suck, but these other ones are pretty good.
All right. Another big thing that people have been talking about lately is transmog stuff. Obviously, with the whole warband system, a lot more transmog stuff is available easier. Like when you kill bosses, you can get any type of transmog, which is great. You kill a boss as a plate user, you can get any cloth, any leather, mail that drops, you can get as transmogs for your warband. Well, for your account, basically, really. And so that's been a super awesome change. Makes transmog farming a lot easier, which is great. And they have some more transmog stuff coming, but it won't be here until the first patch after War Within launches. That'll be 11.0.5. So in that patch, class restricted gear will be obtainable. Like if you're not the right class, you can still get it like for your collection as long as it's a non-cosmetic item. So there's some items in retail that are labeled as cosmetic items. It's like there's cosmetic text on the item. So as long as it's not one of those items, you will be able to get class restricted gear for your transmog collection without being that class. So that's a pretty nice one too. Definitely a fan of that.
Now, in Classic, this was like a bug before, so it was available in retail at one point. Especially with like heirlooms, you were able to like transmog them and send them over like the very first days of transmog. Are you able to transmog as much or as freely as you are in Cataclysm in retail? So that being said, what I mean is like I can have tier what like I can have like Thunder Fury in like tier 1 on like a level 1, where I
Yeah.
don't think you could do that on retail previously.
As far as I know, you can. Like I've leveled characters that had like Thunder Fury and like full Blood Fang. Like I mean, as soon as I reached a city, I don't know about level 1. I think you can at level 1, but generally like I don't reach the city till like level 10. But at that point, yeah, you can just transmog anything. As far as I know. There might be like some restrictions, but yeah, I think basically everything.
Well, I'm one of those people that always shuffle over with my because I have the 2 accounts, so I always shuffle over with my other account and like portal
Oh,
myself to the
okay.
city and like ride up on the transmog yak. You know what I
Nice.
mean?
Yeah. Dude, I gotta get that. I always have to use other people's. The worst is when they like leave or get off of it while you're still trying to mog and you lose
Oh
all
yeah.
your mog progress.
Oh, you know it's actually pretty funny. So in BFA, I think it's when it came out. I bought the Brutosaur because I had like
Hmm.
stockpiled like tons of gold. Um, and watching people use that and then running away like on accident, like not thinking anyone was using it, was
Yeah.
pretty hilarious because people were like, "What the?"
Yeah, you just see all these chat bubbles and like people like panic moving like towards you.
Yeah, they'll like follow them out, and I feel bad. So then I don't want to play the rest of the time until people are done shopping. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword.
Yeah. It's like when you got like a cat or like a like puppy like asleep on your lap and like you don't want to get up and like disturb them. You just like keep letting them sleep. It's like you just can't do anything. You're stuck there.
There it is.
Um,
That's so true.
so another cool thing that got added with War Within, some interesting camera changes. So if your character is obscured by like a tree or something, you can turn on a silhouette for it. So you can see like their characters on the other side of the tree here, but you can see a silhouette of the character. So this is kind of cool. And then there's also a new feature that I'll show here. Um, as a tank, really as just a WoW player in general, but especially as a tank when you're often like near walls and like random objects. One of the most annoying things is when you move your camera and then you move past an object that's like kind of close to you, so it zooms you in, and then you move past that object and then zooms you out, and it's just zooming you in and out like nonstop. Super annoying. One thing they've added is a kind of workaround for that. So this is an example of what it normally looks like, just that zoom in, zoom out, like super annoying. Is not fun.
I do not like that at all.
Yeah.
Like that is probably the worst part of the camera in WoW for
Is
me.
not good. But take a look at this. This is a new thing they added. So with these new settings you can do, you can just like freely move and it doesn't zoom you in and out. And then
I mean, with that change alone, I'll go up at least 1 plus in my mythic. You know what I mean? Just that change alone. Like
yeah,
I feel
I
like that's
mean,
huge for tanks.
it's gigantic. Yeah, it's so good. And then you combine that with like the silhouette change. So like when you are obscured by those things that aren't gonna like zoom you in anymore, you can see your character. It's it's a great change. I can't believe like 20 years later we're getting this, because that's like the jankiest part of playing tank, I think, is all the times your camera just gets like zoomed in randomly. You're trying to like, click a nameplate or something, your camera gets zoomed in. So yeah,
Now,
huge fan.
is it your silhouette only, but it also will it work on your target? Do we know that, or
I don't actually know
because
that.
that would be interesting too, right?
The tooltip for the option just says highlight your character's silhouette when blocked by objects in game.
But it
So,
has like a little like arrow over. I wonder if there's like options, like sub options. You know what I mean? Like a drop down. So
that's the self
oh, that's the
highlight.
set
That's like
highlight.
a
Okay,
different
okay.
thing. Yeah, that just I think puts an outline around your character.
Yeah. That's like a little extra circle or like
Yeah.
arrow above your head or whatever it is.
Yeah.
All right, good to know. Good to
Yeah.
know.
But yeah, some really nice just
Can we get that in Cata
camera
Classic
options
also?
coming.
That would be great.
I feel like it probably will be coming eventually. You know how they, slowly add all these like retail option changes into Kata, or just into classic in general, like throughout the years. I don't think this is too far off. I'm sure we'll
Yeah.
be getting this.
Overall, Kata with some changes hasn't been, Kata with changes rather hasn't been that many changes. This would be a pretty big one. I'd be excited for this for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully, it doesn't brick some things though. You know what I mean? Like
it
the cost of gameplay for
it
some.
always will, right?
Yeah, someone's
Mon
gonna
chat's
find a way.
asking, I wonder how it will work if you're right up against a wall. I think if you're against a wall, it'll still like zoom you in, but it's just for like objects, I think, like trees and lampposts and rocks and things like that. I think this feature might still be sort of a work in progress too. I don't know if it's fully working, because I was trying to do this in Teldrassil on a brand new character I made just before the podcast, and it was like sort of working sometimes and then not working. It didn't seem like it was totally fleshed out, so I'm not just sure if that was because of the specific like tree assets and stuff that are in Teldrassil, and maybe other places it works better, like some of the newer places. But yeah, just something to keep in mind. It might not fully work for everything right now.
Have you ever thought maybe they don't work so much with you because they're subtle changes?
Ooh, yikes. All right. So next up, uh speaking of
Just
subtle,
right into the
actually,
next one.
speaking of subtle, Twitch drops return on August 26th. The ghastly charger mount actually looks sick.
Looks
I'm
pretty good.
And now we've got skywriting on half the mounts in the game, maybe more. I would assume this would be, skywriting enabled. Apparently it was originally a WoW TCG card too. I didn't even remember this one, but it looks awesome, honestly. Like
Yeah, I think it
be
had
renting
like a
that.
weird death rattle too. Like it like death rattled into another minion or something. Like it spawned onto a different minion or something. Anyway, yeah,
Oh,
it
okay.
looks cool. I would definitely write it. Would it be better than Squeakers? I don't know, dude. Squeakers got some good
Oh
val.
man, yeah. For anybody who doesn't know, Squeaker's the trickster. He's this mouse I've been riding. That's my mount in retail right now. He's just this awesome little mouse. He sprouts wings when you need to fly, like little fairy wings, and he's got skywriting enabled, so you can go 900% speed or whatever on little Squeakers. He's great. Squeaker's best mount for sure.
My go-tos are the Phoenixes from challenge modes. I don't know. I just love them.
Yeah. So yeah, to get this, I mean, if you're familiar with Twitch drops, it's same deal as always. But if you're not, basically you go into a stream, you watch it for a certain amount of time, and you unlock the mount. You don't even have to like be there the whole time. You can just like put on the stream in AFK, and you should get it. But yeah, this will start August 26th at 3 p.m. Pacific, which is the release of War Within. So if you're watching some War Within release day hype streams, you will get credit towards this mount while you're gaming. And should note also on the 22nd is when the early release is for people that have the Epic Edition. This event's going to run till September 19th at 10 a.m. So you'll have almost a month to get this. But I mean, I'm sure you guys are going to be watching lots of streams anyway if you're hyped for War Within. Typically, people watch, other people playing the same game there because they're hype about it. They want to experience it with other people. So you guys can get this mount, no problem. Just hop into a stream. On that same note, there's also a pet, the Watcher of the Huntress, which is like a glowy owl. This is awesome. Did you play Warcraft 3 at all, Hando?
I did.
So this probably looks pretty familiar to you, right?
It does.
Yeah. So I want to say it was the Huntresses, right? I mean, based on the name, I think that's probably correct.
That's a pretty good guess.
Yeah. The Huntress. I didn't really play Night Elf that much. Actually, I did, but I did Dryad and I did the like Dryad and Druid of the Claw, like mass. So I
Okay.
don't know. For some reason, I just never really like made Huntresses. I don't know. But Huntress in Warcraft 3 had this spell you could learn that you could cast an owl on a tree and it would give you like visibility of that area for a while. And this is what it looked like. It was like a glowy owl like this. So pretty cool. Warcraft 3 is I mean, kind of tied for my favorite game of all time. WoW and Warcraft 3, my two favorite games of all time. So see it this there is awesome.
Is the Frozen Throne expansion included in that Warcraft
Oh
3
yeah,
also?
yeah,
Okay, just making sure.
100%. I mean, I love Reign of Chaos,
Definitely made it better.
but Frozen Throne takes it to the next level. It's
Literally.
man, I can't tell you how many hours I spent playing custom games on Frozen Throne. Like I played Dota before it was Dota All Stars. It was just regular Defense of the Ancients. It wasn't nearly like to the point it got to later, but yeah, man, that game came a long way.
I was the same way. I wasn't nearly as like crazy on it as I was Brood War. I was a huge StarCraft fanatic, so Brood War was my go-to, especially for custom maps.
Brood War was good. You had the precursor to Dota, Aeon of Strife, in
Yep,
Brood
Aeon
War.
of Strife. Yep. This little emerald owl. Also, I'm always reminded of it, especially since we just got out of the Wrath of the Lich King expansion. Is within that little emerald Dragonshire area or whatever down in Dragonblight. Every time you'd like kill those little owls you needed for the quest, and then kill the large owl for his feather, I'd
Yep.
always think of this. So it's cool
Yeah.
that you can have him as a little buddy.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
think they had one before that little emerald owl, or they've had owls before. I just don't know if they've been this close to.
I mean,
The
this is
Warcraft
just
3
it.
ability.
This is the Warcraft 3 thing. I'm
This is
expecting to
it.
see some like Huntress transmogs, because I mean, obviously you can already get like a Night Saber, so you got that part covered, and then I'm not. I think there's like the glaives they throw. I'm sure there's like glaives like that now.
They have some pretty cool glaives in the game. I don't know which ones exactly, but I've definitely seen some pretty cool ones.
The only issue is
Speak.
they use like a glaive and a shield, so you probably have to get like a fist weapon to go with it. To
Well,
like,
there's that glaive in what's it called? Oh, the Fist of Deity, I think it's called. It's
oh
a
yeah,
weapon from Gundrak, I think it's called.
yeah.
That
I
thing's
think
pretty
there's
cool.
some
It's like
fist
a
weapons that could kind of work for it. Even I mean, Calamity's grasp isn't like the right color, but it does sort of look like the Huntress glaive thing. So
yeah,
I don't know.
true.
People are gonna figure it out though. I'm sure, one way or another.
Have a little transmog competition, of course.
Mm-hmm.
See who can huntress the best.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, and then like cosmetic like awards, rewards, and stuff that you can either earn or buy or whatever. This is not technically part of any of our segments or anything, but the Diablo 4, if anyone is still playing that, I think they're adding some transmog and stuff that's purchasable, and it is Warcraft themed. Like you can literally get like Varian Rin's like armor. You can get Sylvanas' armor, and each Kel'Thas's armor. Each class has a different set, and it's themed to that class in World of Warcraft. So, like necromancers have ones that look like Xalatath, I think. The mages have, or sorcerers rather, have one that's like Kel'Thas. So stuff like that. It's pretty cool. And then the warriors are also, or barbarians rather, are also King Varian, and they look pretty amazing. It
Yeah.
definitely would make you want to play Diablo if you're a huge like transmog person. And I think they should add these things in Warcraft because I think it might make people upset at how cool these things are because hunters get Sylvanas armor. So
Ooh, yeah.
just saying, or rangers,
Yeah.
whatever they're called in Diablo 4,
I could definitely see
including their
that stuff
weapons.
coming, including the weapons. Ooh.
Including the weapons.
Yeah.
Her bow even has a name. I don't remember the name, but I know her
Oh
bow has
yeah,
a
I don't
name.
know. Yeah, I'm sure that stuff's got to be coming, right? They know people love
Hopefully.
transmog. That's a good way to get people interested in stuff. All right. Our final little thing we got here is just Mop Remix. What happens to your characters after it ends? Mop Remix is ending in 6 days from now, August 20th. It's not too far away. So if you want to do this event, get the transmogs, the mounts, all that stuff, make sure you do that quickly. You have less than a week now. But Blizzard has clarified that your character, when it becomes a non-remix character, it's going to get eye level 467 gear, which is lower eye level than what I was talking about earlier with the Radiant Echoes. So just keep in mind, it is going to be a little bit under geared, but it's going to have something. And then you're going to get 30 slot bags, which isn't a huge deal because for cheap, you can buy bags off the auction house that I think are around this size anyway. But you'll have some bags. You'll have some gear. Definitely won't be the best gear, but you'll have something to get you going.
I
So
think characters that also get transferred should also get a frog commemorative frog pet. just for all the frog grinding
Yeah.
that folks did. I know they're
Yeah.
in the game already, but they could just throw another one in.
I feel it. There was like a 1 month period where half the news I was reading on Wowhead was just like, oh, this farm got nerfed in mop. Oh, this other farm got nerfed in mop. They're like, frogs got nerfed. Oh, frogs got nerfed again. Frog 2.0 got nerfed. Frog 3.0 got nerfed. It was just nonstop. But I wish I could have done all that stuff early when everybody was doing it, but they launched it right when cattle launched, so
Yeah.
it's kind of annoying.
I fully expect also this transition to create a ton of bugs because I feel like things like this always do so.
Yeah.
So that will be interesting to see. Hopefully, they're not too game breaking, but it is fun to see some of the wonky stuff that does happen.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm sure we'll see some stuff, and this will all be happening right before the early release of War Within too. So
Yeah,
you'll
they
have
didn't leave much
your
time to fix it if
characters.
there is big
Yeah.
issues.
So hopefully you'll have your characters ready to go before that comes out. You got anything else, Hando? Otherwise, I think that might just wrap it up.
I think that is it, and I am hopeful and ready to see some of you speedsters get at that challenge that we spoke about earlier, and I think that's about it.
Yeah, excited to see what people can do with that. Obviously, I love solo and stuff myself, and we can get more people involved in that and kind of make a speed run solo community. That'd be kind of awesome.
That would be awesome. I mean, even as a group, it would be cool, right? Like if we can
Mm-hmm.
create a group thing or
Yeah.
multiple people. If there's like tiers, you can have 2-man, 3-man, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be pretty
Yeah.
interesting to see. I think that would create uh, more diversity and then insane tactics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like we're going to see a lot of blood DKs in this challenge at least.
Probably a lot of blood DKs.
Maybe some others, but
Hunters are really good too.
hunters are
Hunters can
good.
do some stuff. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that'll
that's
be
that's their
interesting.
tagline actually. Is we can do some stuff.
Yeah. Uh, that's what it says on the WoW website when you like
Yeah,
click the class to like read more about like what hunters are all about.
yeah. When
There's
you're
just a
creating when you're
quote,
creating one,
we can do some stuff.
yeah, when you're creating the character, it says like, "Oh, this is about the night elves," and then the hunter is just, "We can do some stuff,
We can do
and we
some
have
stuff.
pets."
And they can do some stuff too.
Yeah, and our pets can do some stuff too.
All right.
Well,
Well,
it's been great, buddy.
yeah. It's been good as always, dude. Yeah, we will see you guys again next week. Keep in mind, we're within uh early release. Actually, I think I had the date wrong. Is it the 20th? I think it's August 20th. I was thinking 22nd, but let me
I thought it was 3 days prior, so 22nd sounds
let
correct
me
to me.
just double check this date.
Yeah, oh, we're not good at news. The newscast is not good at news.
Yeah, hold up. Okay, it is August 22nd. That's what I
Yeah, that
was
made sense
originally
to me too.
thinking, and then I like second guessed it. All right, so yeah, we got I mean, we don't have that much more time. It's right around the corner. We got, just 8.5 days. That's crazy. It's coming up quick. And then if you don't have the Epic Edition and you're gonna play right on the regular launch, it's gonna be like 13 days from now. But it's coming quick, coming quick. I'm excited. Like all these tanks I've been playing are super fun. I was already like really hyped, and then as I've been leveling these tanks and like seeing all the new talents and everything, like not even the hero talents, just seeing the talent revamps, the baseline talents and everything, they're like all so sick. And I'm kind of just planning on playing all 6 tanks like through M plus like regularly, and I'm pumped. It's gonna be good.
I think you have a ton of eager viewers to see that content, and it may help us choose what we want. If we're not able to play as much. So
It's gonna be fun, and like I said before too, I'm gonna be doing some viewer M plus stuff. So if you wanna be a part of that, make sure you're hanging out in the stream, and we'll get you in for some runs.
That's right. We check IO at the door. We check the IO at the door. It's actually an add-on built into the stream. It's an IO checker. Actually, I think that's gotten a little bit less toxic lately, so that's good.
Yeah, I don't think it's really too big of a deal. And
I was meaning for this community.
Hando's just joking too. Like in my viewer runs, all there's no requirement. We're just gonna have fun, do some stuff, and it'll be a good time.
Yeah. Plus, if we had requirements, you wouldn't let me play with you. So that's why we don't have the requirements.
They call it the Hando rule.
It's the rule of hand.
But
it's like the rule of thumb, but larger.
Yeah. But thanks as always for watching, everybody. We will see you next week for a little pre-War Within launch podcast. We'll also name our champions of the solo Blackrock Caverns run. Make sure you check the Discord for the info on that. If you didn't remember all of it from our spiel earlier, we'll have that all in the Discord written down for you. And yeah, just submit video evidence of your solo, and we will watch it eagerly and rank your performance.
That's right, and we will see you before the war.
We'll see you before the war. Have a great week, everybody, and rest up for the War Within. Peace.